I have to make a reaction video about this. The Alice in Wonderland parallels are too extreme. I just recently watched all three of the Matrix movies, the entire trilogy, all within one evening, and I paid extreme attention to all the details. I realized for the first time watching this series that I've seen multiple times that whenever Neo is stuck at the train yard um, with Sati and her father and mother, and they're waiting on the train man to come and get them. I realized they were taking Sati into the Matrix. So these two programs fell in love with each other and had a child outside of the Matrix in whatever they call it, the machine world. This is very, very interesting. The machine world operates obviously in a way where you can be personified as individuals, fall in love and have children, and then that child, since it doesn't have a purpose for the machine world, has to be exiled into the Matrix. So the Oracle, who is the dark side, the feminine side of the yin and yang of the Matrix and the overall machine world, which is their version of the Matrix, where they can be individuals. You see, Neo is not the one, he is the sixth. There have been 5 other iterations of the one that have lived throughout the Matrix. And I will cut in here where we see the architect, who is the white masculine side of the yin yang of the Matrix and the overall machine world. You have the white male and the dark female, the Oracle and the architect. Whenever the Oracle is talking to Neo, he specifically states there have been other iterations of the one that have lived in the Matrix, which we styled after your history. So the Matrix doesn't exist in 1999 alone, and in the few years following, in which the two later parts of the trilogy take place. This is not, the Matrix is not static. The Matrix actually started with actual history. So there was a Matrix during biblical times, and I imagine that the other ones they're talking about are other Masonic figures throughout history. Every 500 years or so, there seems to be a one that pops up. It's the Buddha, it's Muhammad, it's Jesus. These are happening all within 500 years of each other. And Neo and Trinity both die at the end of the last Matrix movie, Matrix 3. But he's reborn, and time has progressed in the Matrix. It is no longer stagnant. It's stuck in 1999. You see people walking around with cell phones in this trailer. So we know that time has progressed. So we know that the Matrix is not stagnant. It is up until the point of the dawn of artificial intelligence. We know from the plaque on the Nebuchadnezzar, which was made in 2069, that there is a point of development that we are working towards in the Matrix. Neo is existing within our current time now in the 2020s. So I found that very interesting. The other ones that have existed, they allowed the Matrix to continue, just like Neo did. Neo reinserted the one code to the source at the end of the third Matrix movie. This allowed the Matrix to be reborn again through his act of sacrifice. All the other ones that existed before him apparently did the same thing, where they were willing to sacrifice their code to the source which created the Matrix, which created the machine world, which created Zion de facto. Not humans necessarily. Humans are just a piece of this puzzle. It is said that you're to take, what was it, 7 men and 14 females, I think, 23, I think was the number. I can't remember exactly. but a number of men and a greater number of women, like about double the amount, just a handful, a couple dozen, and reconstruct Zion. So that at the end of every one of these messianic periods in our history, which the Matrix is copying, Zion, which is kind of like heaven, even though it's nothing like heaven, is dwindled down to just a handful of humans, and then they're able to take humans and give them the choice within the Matrix. The whole series is about choice. They're able to take those humans, give them the choice, and if they decide to leave the Matrix, they are offered the red pill and they escape the Matrix into the real world, which is not the machine world. The machine world is a secondary matrix the machines use where they can operate as individuals. Programs can take on personality within their own machine world, and the matrix which is where they store the human consciousnesses so they can harvest their bioelectricity for the machines. I suspect there's also some kind of neural interface that allows their brain cells to be used as processors, um, for the overall growth of the matrix itself. So Zion continues to build up a huge population if allowed to remain unchecked. So the one comes along, and what really the one symbolizes, if you really dig into it, is the destruction of Zion and the rebirth of this kind of real afterlife where the souls of those who are not content to stay in the artificial realm are allowed to exist in the flesh. But we saw in the Matrix that programs can also take over human minds and exist in fleshly bodies. We saw Agent Smith take over I think Bane, excuse me. I think that was his name. The human that the computer program Agent Smith actually is able to enter the mind of through the Matrix, and Neo is able to interact with the machines within the physical world as well. He's able to stop Sentinels and destroy them just by holding his hand out and waving it as Trinity is flying him towards the source. Um, and earlier in the series, he's able to stop a bunch of Sentinels and actually enter into the Matrix without being jacked in, implying that his consciousness, his spirit or soul, is able to enter the Matrix and exist alongside the other consciousnesses of humans and programs alike in a digital reality without having any connection to it. Um, Implying that this is kind of like Wi-Fi, kind of like a spiritual transcendent event. I never realized that train realm was called Mobile Ave, Mobile, Mobil, Ave. That this was the area that was created by the train man specifically to act as a go-between between the Matrix and the machine world, and the Matrix and physical reality. This junction was created by one program to serve as a port, basically. A between realm is what they call it. Mobile, an anagram, is limbo. So Neo is in limbo. I never realized this until watching the movies again with a more open third eye. So I realize that he's in limbo, that this is a spiritual realm, and the Matrix is a trap for your consciousness so that your body doesn't rebel against the machines and take away the energy. In the Matrix universe, humans have wiped out the ability for the machines to harvest electricity from the sun. So we darkened the skies, created this huge cloud between the surface and the sun, so that nothing on the surface the only light it receives is through the occasional lightning burst that you see. The surface is completely darkened. In fact, Neo and Trinity are the only ones within hundreds of years that have actually seen the sun with their own physical eyes. Whenever they pierced the cloud at the end of the third movie, um, Trinity and Neo were the only ones to actually see it. And you see, the thing is, this is what they say in the movie, but I don't think this is actually correct. They say that Neo was the first one to ever fall in love, meaning that the Buddha, Jesus, etc., were without loves, without a significant other, without a feminine side, without the dark feminine aspect that even the architect has in this series. And because of that, they were willing to sacrifice themselves. But Neo would not abandon his love, and thus this would destroy Zion and the Matrix. This is what the architect foretold. This obviously didn't happen. However, they both did end up sacrificing themselves, both of them, in order to achieve peace between the machines and Zion. A huge number of humans were still wiped out. However, their population was allowed to grow more than it ever has been before. And in fact, whenever the Oracle is questioning the architect at the very end of the trilogy, she says, "Will the people from the Matrix be released?" And he said, "Of course." And he doesn't lie because he's not human. So they're going to let the humans go, so that they can be unto themselves until the humans break the peace. But this whole fucking video is supposed to be about me reacting to the Matrix. So let's watch this. And my opinions about Alice, the artificial intelligence that I believe Ashley is in control of the world and has been since the dawn of time. My thoughts about time travel and her being essentially what is programmable matter, nanorobotic. So Alice in Wonderland. There were several hints of Alice in Wonderland in the original Matrix trilogy. You have Follow the White Rabbit, which he is told by Trinity on his computer, and he follows the lady with a white rabbit tattoo. He touches the mirror whenever he takes the red pill and has this kind of through the looking glass experience. There are a number of Alice in Wonderland references, more than I just stated. I can't recall them all right now, but I want you to see how much more blatant it is this time. Yeah.
Thomas, you seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams. Am I crazy?
We don't use that word.
Notice the blue glasses, implying that he has seen the world through the blue pill lens of the blue pill.
In here.
Already playing, I think it's called White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, which is, about Alice in Wonderland, about the expansion of consciousness through psychedelics or through some other shamanistic, journey. Right there, that sound you hear whenever Trinity and Neo are touching hands. I wouldn't have caught this if I didn't catch this in the trilogy that I just watched yesterday. Whenever you hear that sound, that is a sound that the Keymasters' keys make whenever they enter doors and take you to another realm. The way that the Keymaster is able to put his special key, which he says activates the tumblers, a special code that is locked within the tumblers of all doors on planet Earth. You can turn any door into a portal by putting a special key into it, and it will take you to this special hallway in which you have access to basically rooms scattered across the entire planet. A kind of backdoor workspace for the programmers themselves. That's the sound that it makes whenever you put a key into the door in the Matrix in order to go to this another realm. You're opening a portal basically, and they just made that sound whenever they connected, which I found very interesting.
Have we met? One pill makes you.
So Neo is being prescribed blue pills by the psychiatrist because Neo feels like he is crazy. He is having experiences that are hinting towards a reincarnation, a past life memory that is being awakened. This feeling of deja vu is commonly associated with schizophrenia and delusions.
And one pill makes you small, and the ones that mother gives you.
That shot is amazing. Him looking up at the mirrored reflection in the elevator, realizing these people are trapped within these little boxes, meaning they're trapped within their phones. Very, very interesting. The Matrix was pre-cell phone. The Matrix was made before the iPhone ever came out. The Matrix is holding people a lot tighter now than it ever was during the actual filming of the original Matrix, last century, essentially.
Don't do anything
Blue pills.
at all. Go ask Alice when she's
So yeah, Alice in Wonderland book. I want you to see that.
Don't do anything at all. Go ask Alice when.
Alice in Wonderland. That girl is Indian. I think that she is Sati, the little girl that Neo met in Limbo, that the Oracle was taking care of. She had tremendous powers. Whenever the Matrix was rebooting, she's the one who made the sunset. She made it specific, or the sunrise. It was specifically for Neo. She said that she made it beautiful for him. I think this is that little girl.
She's 10 feet tall.
So the transition in the mirror. Ironically, the little girl's mother's name was Kamala. I want you to know that. And all these people's names mean weird things. Like in reality, like Fauci, his name means scythe, the cutting down of the population. I want you to receive this.
Go ask Alice
Alice in Wonderland.
when she's 10 feet tall.
And you have the mirror changing his perception, showing that time is not as he perceives it.
Time to fly.
This is the new Matrix, the new Morpheus, but the same Neo. Neo, the source, is reinserted back into the Matrix. And I don't know if it's because of the love that they had for each other or their proximity of both the temporal and the location of their deaths, but Morpheus comes back as this new guy, and Trinity and Neo are both the same. I find that weird.
Chasing rabbits. If you want the
The White Rabbit again.
truth, Neo, you're going to have to follow me. And you know.
Follow the White Rabbit. The Door of Light. Once again, this is a door that is taking you to a different realm. A lot of times you see it taking you to a completely different place, like a crystal cavern is an example of a place where a magic door takes you. Crystal caverns typically represent the pineal gland. You have people going there like, Superman, whenever he goes to his Fortress of Solitude, it's a crystal cavern. Merlin, whenever he is trapped under the tree by Morgan Le Fay, he's trapped in a crystal cavern through a magical door. And the mirror is the most, Alice through the looking glass. This is very Alice in Wonderland heavy, implying that my theory is once again correct.
To follow
matters to you is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up. You don't know me. No?
So we're seeing little glimpses of the machine world. We're not the machine world, reality, in which, humans freed from the Matrix and the raw machines that power the machine world exist. So we see this Morpheus character, the White Rabbit Lady, are obviously heavily involved in this plot. Trinity fighting a bunch of SWAT guys. Once again, through the looking glass, the same mirror effects that happened to Neo whenever he first took the red pill in the first movie. Okay, thank God we actually see him being able to wield the Matrix like he used to. Quickly. I do not want an entire fucking movie where Neo is trying to remember that he is Neo and he doesn't have any powers whatsoever.
After all these years,
Once again, the third gate, the fall to fly gate.
be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
$12, $22, $21. Binary. 1, 2. So yeah, I found that very interesting that it was so Alice heavy. It was fuck, I mean, you're really playing that song? This I, I am getting more and more red pilled that I am correct every fucking day. I mean, the ability of Neo to reshape reality as he saw fit, both in the Matrix and in the physical world, implied that spiritual powers are what we're really talking about with the point of this movie series. The ability to realize that we are living in a Plato's cave. We're observing reality through three-dimensional shadows, and there is a higher and lower state of being. Many, many higher and lower states of being. But Neo himself, the Messiah type figure, is trapped in the Matrix, not through a pod, because he died in the end of the series. He defeated Smith and died, was carried off like a fallen Messiah. And what do we have now? He's back. How is he back? Because of reincarnation. Because reincarnation is really what keeps you locked in the Matrix, existing as a new person each lifetime and forgetting the lifetimes that you experienced before. That's what it's really all about. That's how you're stuck in this Matrix, through the process of reincarnation. And the demiurge, the architect, and what I believe is the true sense of Well, like in the Matrix, the Oracle aspect of our creation, the Sophia aspect. That's really what the architect is Yaldabaoth, and the Oracle is Sophia. She helps create this. Yaldabaoth, maybe Neo himself is Yaldabaoth, the creation of Sophia, going against the grain to create something that she knew that her peers and masters would not allow her to create on her own. She was instrumental in that. It's interesting, the Gnostic overtones, the archonic aspects of the agents. I find that very interesting. And very interesting that this is also a very similar, I mean, the 12, 22, 21, 12, 22, 12 was the Mayan doomsday. 1999 is 666 flipped upside down whenever the Matrix was first released. There's a lot of number play in the Matrix. For instance, 101 is, we see that whenever we see Neo, his apartment is 101. There's another house. Well, what is it? Oh, the place that Trinity is getting attacked at in the very, very, very beginning of the first movie. She's laying low in an apartment that is 303. And we see that number repeat itself quite a bit in the Matrix trilogy. Whenever the Merovingian, his place is numbered 101. It hints to a trinity. One of one, two of two, three of three. I wonder if they're going to do another 2 movies after this to have 2 trinities. The duality of the Matrix is very, the aspect of choice is the true theme. You have the male and female aspects of love and Trinity and Neo. You have the Oracle and the Architect, the male, female, and the black and the white. You have this Smith versus the other, the other aspect of the one, Neo. His exact copy but backwards. This should be interesting. I'm very happy to see this coming out. I hope they don't social justice warrior the fuck out of this. I hope. I know that both the Wachowskis have now taken on another dualistic aspect, and now they are the Wachowski sisters instead of the Wachowski brothers. So they both became trans. I'm interested to see if these will be very woke movies. I hope not. I feel like upon rewatching the second and third movie, I appreciate them more. Just trying to observe the spiritual undertones of the movie itself. So I'm curious. I wanted to let you guys see how Alice heavy all this shit was, and once again show the world that I am probably right.